All right. Well, I don't know, man. I'm gonna try to bring the fire this time because, this
You bring the
movie.
fire, I'll bring a hose. All right, here we go.
Yeah,
I brought the
let's
cat.
do it. Yeah, let's do it.
And Rich brings the cat.
And he brings the cat because I really wanted to love this movie, but god damn it, I was disappointed.
Who brings the cat to a gunfight? Rich. All right, three, two,
Hey,
one.
like cats.
Welcome to the nightcap. There we go.
Well, welcome back, guys, and hey, welcome back, Rich. Back from
Thanks,
IR.
Good to be back. Got called in. I don't know why, but I'm here.
Okay, back from the dead or deathbed or close to it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a three-legged race without you.
Cats. Oh, nope, that didn't work out too good. Cat.
Oh Jesus! What movie are we doing today, guy?
Probably
We're
Spinach,
doing-
right?
We're doing the old guard.
Oh,
We're not doing cats, Rich. That's next week.
oh, get out
Whoa! We're doing a new movie. We're doing a new movie. That's
We're
crazy
doing a new
talk.
movie, yeah.
That's crazy
Yeah.
talk. All right. Well,
2020 Netflix film.
okay.
Netflix original? I don't know. Were they production?
Well, it is a Netflix original, but it's based off a comic book.
Right.
Is what I believe. So.
Well, The Old Guard, yeah, is a 2020 American action film directed by Gina Prince Bythewood and written by Greg Rucka, based off the comic book of the same name. Follows film stars Charlize Theron, Kiki Lane, and Matthias Schoenaerts as a team of immortal mercenaries that go on a revenge mission. The movie came out in July of this year, 2020. Budget of $70 million, and yeah, it's went straight to Netflix. So, were any of you guys familiar with the comic book?
No.
Because it's not something I'm familiar with.
No.
I don't know if
No,
it was
Didn't even know it was based off a comic book until I read it somewhere out on this, out on the streets somewhere that it was based on a comic.
Graffiti.
Yes.
Maybe.
I looked it up after watching this movie. I didn't actually read it, but I looked it up. I guess Image does it, which I'm surprised because Image
How
does.
did you make that awkward? I don't know how you did that, but you did.
I don't know how you
don't know.
made that awkward. Like, it was weird.
I looked it up.
Good old freaking
looked it
Rich
up.
knows how to make anything awkward. Fucking
Yeah.
heck.
Well, what do you guys think of this story, right? So we got this team here of mercenaries, immortals, as they call themselves.
Mhm.
They can't die. They kind of found each other, I guess, through visions and dreams. And here we are, 2020. They're still going strong, led by a very androgynous Charlize Theron with her supercuts haircut and her
Sassy haircut. Very
very
sassy.
sassy. Yeah, she looked
Very
like a
sassy
female Johnny Cash. What'd you think? What'd you guys think of the story?
You know what? The plot is probably the highest score I'm going to give it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I felt like it's a unique plot. It's immortal soldiers from the histories, and now they're in modern times trying to change the world all throughout history. I liked it. There has a lot of potential in it. I don't know about what you guys
You've
think.
obviously never seen Highlander because I wouldn't call this unique at all. This seems like a movie I saw 1,000 times over. Superhero
A thousand.
Highlander.
1,000 times. Okay.
I watched a lot of action movies, man. And tell you what, this pretty much was it. I mean, there wasn't much to it. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to take a turd on this movie, but I really wanted to like it. I thought it had potential, but honestly, I felt I was lied to. As soon as I went into the movie, cool, they got shot up, dead person on the ground. A great action sequence with them infiltrating the center and then being betrayed. After that, it just turned into a drama movie. And I'm not the biggest fan of drama movies. It was set up, the name, Old Guard.
Yeah.
Kind of seen something epic. And then it just turns into a very feel bad for me, pity me, sad movie. Went from, I thought it was an action to, everybody's emotions.
Yeah. I agree. Like it started off strong. It started off strong with them doing that little mission to try to, get these girls back. And then, the big action sequence that kind of started the whole shebang when they all got shot up. And the next thing you know, they came back to life.
Right.
I was just like that. Like Rich said, that reels you in. You're like, okay, this has potential. We could get this thing going. And then it just kind of herked and jerked its way to the end. Like
I thought the premise was interesting. You know what I mean? Like it had some potential, but like Rich said, it very much felt like something at the same time that you've heard before, right? Like almost like to me, like vampire-ish creatures,
right?
To live forever, Highlander, the kind of references to that. And the major beef I had with it too was just that it straddled the line. It couldn't, Actually, that's actually a wrong take. It didn't straddle the line. It wanted to take itself more serious when I felt like it should have been more stylized, more over the
Exactly.
top, you know, especially coming from a comic book. And right off the bat, it's like almost like this action thriller type movie. They're in Sudan. They're like this strike team. And then you kind of learn the secret of their, you know, regenerative powers. But it never really, I don't know, it never really kicked off for me. You know, I almost wish it was more over the top.
It doesn't kick off. That was my kind of gripe with it. It starts off strong and then just goes.
Yeah, it kind of stalls.
Yeah,
it kind of
you know
stalls like.
It's like getting that new job. You're all excited for the first 3 months. Then all of a sudden you realize what it is, and you're just like, "Oh shit, I'm stuck with this."
I don't know. I don't know if I understand the analogy, but let's moving forward. I did not understand that analogy.
Are you talking about Niall's character? Was that a reference to Niall?
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm reaching for shit on this movie right now.
Let's get into the production. What did you think of the overall like production quality of it?
The production was slick. I mean, this is like a Netflix movie, and like the past Netflix, like Triple Frontier, Extraction. I wrote it down, Six Underground. Those are all Netflix movies, and they came with it. Like they were like big budget movies. Looks super slick, and the same with this. You know, locales. Yeah, it looked like a big budget movie from a major studio. So the production, I gave it like 18 out of 20. That's another big score I gave it. Before I totally crap all over this movie in the next three sections. So, what about you guys?
Section.
Sections.
I actually gave it. I'm gonna agree with that. I thought the production was on point. I gave it an 18 as well.
Oh wow!
It was. There wasn't anything kind of bad. There was no shots that took me out of it. I mean, what I didn't like about it was each plot movement seemed forced. It was like you were pushed through the movie the whole time.
Yep.
That's what I did.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you guys in the production. I wasn't nearly as blown away. I thought even the shots the cinematography felt a little amateur. There were some of the wide shots that I could just tell this isn't the way it was set up, and the framing just didn't feel at a high like Hollywood level quality. Right. Some of like the following shots, the action sequences. I don't know if you guys noticed too. There was a lot of like where you can tell they sped up the motion to make it seem more dramatic than it was. To kind of spice up the choreography. And then the music, the pop songs that would just kind of come in and out, they were distracting for me. I give it a 13 out of 20. Yeah,
I'll agree with you on the soundtrack in regards to the song choices. It didn't match. It didn't match the scene that it was trying to portray. Like the whole when she was gonna get taken away to like was it like first taken and then she was listening to Frank Ocean. I don't know if that was trying to convey like trying to calm her nerves or whatever, but it just didn't feel right. It just didn't. Yeah, the soundtrack didn't hit for me either. So I'll definitely agree with you on that one. And that's very rare because I never agree with Steve on anything. So.
You know what also kind of stuck out to me too, and tell me if I'm wrong. You know the scenes of them like back in this ancient battle scene, the costumes looked like costumes, like the scene with Quinn and Charlize, and she's wearing like that crown thing. It looked like a plastic crown you bought for Halloween or something. Like I don't know, those scenes too felt a little. I don't know. I
feel like I wish that they would have touched more on their past selves because that's where the meat's at. That's where it was really interesting. Like all the members of the old guard had such rich like histories that they just kind of touched upon, like Booker, Napoleon, the Joe and Nikki from the Crusades, Andy. Who the heck knows?
Who the hell knows, right?
Yeah, she's like what 1,000, 2,000 years old, and that's where the meat's at. Like I don't know if it was budget wise, time wise.
I love the picture of Andy setting in the Revolution in the Civil War. I thought that made me chuckle.
Did she have like? Was there a picture of her like in the Vietnam War with the hat, or was I imagining that?
I think there was on that scene where they're showing her timeline and everything.
Yeah,
I think there was.
I think they added her in the boat on Washington when he's going to Delaware. She's just in the back like binoculars.
I think I saw her in the background of the Patriot.
The rebels.
Yeah, I think I saw her in the background of the Patriot movie that we reviewed a few weeks back. So
she's there at the Last Supper, just serving wine.
You know what kind of did. Sorry. Get back to the movie for a minute. Yeah. You know what kind of thinking about this now? What kind of is disappointing about this like movie too for me? The concept of Immortals. every time people talk about Immortals, they make them these sad, pathetic, I don't want to live anymore, I've lived forever type of people.
Well,
Why wouldn't they make someone like a badass who's like, fuck yeah, I live forever. Look at all my cool shit. Like, you don't have this. Like, I don't know. All the Immortal movies just seem like they always make them sad. Like a
well,
reflection on life. You want to
well,
die.
Booker, we're going off the rails on our structure, but I don't care. Booker kind of touched on that, the Booker's character, because
Yeah.
spoiler alert, that he sells him out at the end. He betrays him at the end. Sorry, guys, if you haven't watched the movie yet.
That's what I'm
He's
talking
their
about.
cipher,
It's
basically.
always sad. It's always
Yeah.
that sad shit. Why
And
do
it's
they do that with the
because
book?
like he explains it. He touched up a little bit on it when he was talking to Niall. You'll see everyone that you love die, and
Mhm.
that weighs on you. That guy is like what 600, 700 years old. Like, come on, like how much more
Yeah,
life can you live?
but then they also say, I can't even remember their faces. I can't even remember their names. If you really can't remember that much, yeah, you feel the sense of loss. But is it really going to weigh down on you after 600 more years? I don't think so. Like, I don't know. I'd probably be producing.
I know what
fucking
you're saying. I
Captain
mean,
Pilot.
in one way, emotionally, it's probably draining, but then in another way, you get to live 1,000 lives. You
Dude,
get to be
yeah,
1,000 different personas.
Yeah,
You know.
you get to watch
I get that
decades
too.
of history like develop in front of you. I mean,
Hmm.
talk about having power in your hands. Could you imagine the small little changes that you could do? Like, oh, I'm going to invest in this little company now because I know it's going to be big. You
Hmm.
billionaire later.
Well, they didn't. Well, they don't know the future, but
No,
they just
but
live for a long
let's say if
time.
you have thousands of dollars and like Bill Gates is like, oh, first computer. Oh, I'm just gonna I'll put money.
Well,
Well,
let's rule it. Let's
they
rule it
can't
in.
predict the future, Rich. They just live forever. All right.
Yeah, let's reel it in a little bit.
I don't know. They can take advantage
Let's
of
get
it.
into the acting itself.
Wouldn't
Okay,
be so
Ugh.
besides Charlize Theron trying her best to get this ragtag group together and up to par, was there any other performances that you guys that stood out to you? What did you guys think of like Niall's character?
I mean, she stood out, but not in a good way, buddy. She kind of, and I don't want to go in too hard on her because she seems like a nice girl.
Seems very
I don't
nice.
know if she's like she's really green.
Yeah,
Acting definitely wasn't up to par, and it really took me away from this movie. Like it really took me out of it because she's legit like right underneath Charlize Theron's like character as like a main character, right? She's probably
right.
the second most important character, and they just didn't flow very well. They were supposed to be like mentor mentee, and then it just didn't like show off. I don't know if she couldn't like handle, her acting chops wasn't in the same stratosphere as like Charlize's, but it showed. It showed, guys,
Yeah.
and it definitely took me out of the movie. Her character, her dialogue, the whole shebang, it just wasn't very good. It was almost as if like this movie would have been a whole lot better if they just focused on the four original old guard like members and not just try
Yeah,
to
I agree.
shoehorn, yeah,
Well,
and try to shoehorn like a new
she
member in.
I think her character was important because she's supposed to show that diversity of a new character, of separation, of you have to let go of your current life and move on. The problem with her was she didn't really sell that. Like she
Hmm.
had the whole thing with her was she's supposed to want to hold on to her life, say goodbye to her family. Her father was a Marine. She had the picture of the phone. She didn't really seem that emotionally attached to her family. Like she didn't, it just wasn't sold to me at all. Like what her character was supposed to represent, that turning point of being an immortal and being easy on your family and letting go. She just kind of seemed like she was along for the ride. She was just like, all right, whatever.
Well,
Yeah, it's my pops. Look at this.
she did a little throwaway scene at the very end when she
Mhm.
was like, yeah, Copley could make it look like I died in the field. Yeah, they'll miss me, but they'll get over it. I'm like, dude, like literally like 10 minutes ago, you were just like, there's still time for me to be with them. Like they won't notice that I'm
Yeah.
not getting
Exactly.
old. I'm like, come on.
Just didn't sell it. You know what I mean? Just that was
Nah.
my character. I don't think it could be something to do with her acting, but I don't know. What do you
It,
think, Steve? She didn't sell it for me, man.
Well, I was to say I don't think that this movie, like for me, this movie didn't emotionally connect at all. But it wasn't for a lack
no.
of trying. I think they tried. Even like the romance with Joe and Nikki, right? And they're
Hmm.
trying to like show them they've over the years developed this relationship, and then even Book and Andy's characters, they're kind of relating, and and they're in that. But it just I don't know. I, it never. I know that I could see the effort in there and them trying to make that connection and trying to give it gravity, but for me, I never really cared. And even in this world in general, it just wasn't that interesting. And maybe they should have shied away from, instead of trying to tell Niall's story and then, you know, incorporating this whole side narrative with Merrick and the, you know, the pharmaceutical bad guy and all this, and just focus more on their histories. Like Rich said, maybe that would have been more, you know, fulfilling, you know, watching the story, and then you get connected, and then maybe have a sequel, and then you catch up, you know?
Yeah, that's what drew me into this movie. Was I thought there was going to be some cool backstory. They're immortals.
Yeah.
Like, I get a cool snippet of a cool period of time of different eras of these people lived in. Instead, I get a couple 5-minute scenes, and then it's in our era. It's in modern era. It's in a time that already existed.
And none of them felt old. I don't even know what that means necessarily, but none of them felt like these 100-year-old characters or these people that had long life experiences. They just felt kind of like depressed, kind of cynical characters. I don't know. When I think of like old people, like Immortals and stuff, I kind of get that Eastern philosophy of like, you know, they're very wise. They went through a lot. They could tell you, oh, you don't want to do this, but I know you're going to do it anyways, but I'm going to tell you anyways because I'm wise. Right. You know what I mean? They get it.
Yeah, the acting, I don't know, man. It's like you said, they should have touched more on just their personal characters and not just try to do a big scope. If it was just more of a personal like movie with those four, God, I'm telling you, if it was just those four, they focus on those four plus their rich histories, God, this movie would have been so much better. Yeah. So much better.
I mean, I don't know if it's a pro or a con, but acting, I ended up giving it 15 out of 30. That was my highest score. So that tells you a little bit about how I felt about the movie. I thought
pretty close.
I thought Charlize tried, you know what I mean? Yeah. Honestly. And I thought the book character, I thought he was interesting, especially having his conflicted feelings about kind of wanting to give up this life.
Right.
Which I still suggest they should just cut their heads off, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Let's see if you really come back.
Because then it's Highlander.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
You know, I wasn't too very far off. I gave the acting 16, and that was because of Charlize and Booker's character. Like they carried this movie. Like the little scene at the very end when he got exiled for like 100 years, and they were talking about, you know, I won't see you again, and then they gave that little hug, and then you could feel like they were together for like hundreds of years, and like they didn't really want to do this, but they had to do it. And that little scene
I don't know that I necessarily felt that, but they just seemed to me like they had the most natural chemistry of the four people.
That's a good way. Yeah.
Steve, that's a good way to put it. You know what? I actually gave it a 21 for acting because
Jesus.
I don't think it was that bad as far as acting was going, but they just didn't have the synergy to sell it. Honestly, the acting wasn't horrible, but the synergy wasn't there. And if you're in a group environment like that and you have a group team, that synergy needs to be there, especially if they knew each other for hundreds of years.
Exactly.
You think that?
I mean, can you imagine the inside jokes?
Yeah,
exactly. Hey, you remember that one time with the goat?
Yeah. Well, Joe and Nikki. Yeah, Joe and Nikki kind of had like some back and forth about little inside stuff, but you know they've been together for like literally a millennia, so I get that. And but yeah. Rich must have been drinking when he was watching this movie because the 21 in acting, Jesus, Rich, you're dishing out like good scores for this movie. I don't know why.
The synergy
he really likes Charlize's short hairdo.
Oh, she's my celebrity crush, so I got it.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Bad Rich.
Fair enough.
Well, let's get into the director. So this is a director I'm not familiar with. I'll shoot her name here handy. Gina Bythewood. What did you think of? I mean, I guess we kind of are already answering it, right? As far as the execution of the storytelling, you know, it kind of lags in the middle when it starts going to tell its exposition, trying to tell the backstory of everything, and then at the end, you know, we get this whole, you know, thing here with Copley and Merrick, and you know them. What did you guys think about that part? That part of the story with the CIA and this, medical company trying to find their secrets.
I really. For the old guard being such badasses, right? They portray them as badasses, if we could say that. Mm-hmm. For the main villain to be a Merrick, a CEO of like a pharmaceutical company, it was such a letdown, guys.
He seemed like a poor man's Lex Luthor.
Oh, it was a mismatch of movies. Come on, how many times have we seen? Oh, we're gonna go talk to a CIA agent. Oh, guess what? CIA agent's a bad guy, betrays you. It's been fucking done, dude.
That's a great
It's
point. When does a
original.
CIA agent ever not betray anybody?
I know, like, come on. You should go see your grandma or something, and she turns you in or something, dude.
But another spoiler alert: Copley turns good at the end, and he becomes their like their Q, like their
and I like that actor. They needed more of him, honestly. He's actually a pretty good actor.
I like that actor too. He was in
Yeah.
the old TV show Firefly, and he was pretty good. He was a bad guy in that one.
I just remember him from the only movie I know him from is Love Actually. Yeah, that's the only movie I know him from.
So
Great movie. I like that movie.
We're moving on, right?
Well, anyways.
Anyway, the directing, I crapped on it. I gave it a 15. There. I'm trying to bring it back. All right.
Yeah, let me see.
But Love Actually
I
wasn't good.
very well. I ended up giving it a 12. So, I mean.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I was pretty harsh.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Let's get into the X Factor. I mean, for you guys, I don't know if we've all been pretty harsh so far. Let's say this. So at the end of the movie, right, we get to see Book ends up connecting with Quinn, who's apparently not dead, and these segues into what's most likely going to be some sequels here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. Granted, as much as I didn't appreciate the first part of the movie, the whole movie. But I'm not sure that I want to revisit this world. I'm still not totally sold on it. What do you guys think? I mean, in terms of your X Factor, seeing that there may be a sequel for this, is this something that you guys want to revisit? Do you want to know more about this world? Do you think it has potential?
That's not really my X Factor. My X Factor was that scene with the Iron Coffin and that chick screaming, that dying over and over again. That was my X Factor because that whole scene was done really well. As far as the world that I'd like to re-see, I would revisit it if they showed more of the past, more of the backstory, more of how they met, not the moving forward in our time, Immortals. I would like to see more. If they went to the future and kept the plot going with the direction that it is, with now introducing the bad guy, it's another fucking movie I saw. But if they went backwards in time and told that story, I would revisit it. Definitely, 100%.
I'll definitely watch the sequel, if and when it comes out. Because for me, the ending kind of saved it with the whole, with Quinn coming back. Because now we actually are gonna get like a badass villain. Because she's probably, I haven't read the comic, but I'm pretty sure she's gonna be the villain, right? She's gonna blame Andy for not saving her, blah 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 blah. And that saved it for me. So X Factor, I gave it 8 just because of the franchise potential for this movie, and also because of Charlize's sassy haircut.
Very Supercuts-esque haircut.
No, man, she had that thing.
It's amazing that she was able to be accurate with those bangs in her face the whole time.
She had the same haircut as Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3.
Thanks for the fun fact, Rich.
You look that up.
When Spider-Man went emo, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, let's get to total scores, guys. Rich, let's start with you. What was your total score for the movie?
67.
Oh, that's fair. I gave it a 66, so we weren't that far off.
Oof. Give it a 45.
Oh, man.
Big 0 for the X Factor. I am not revisiting
You gave it a 0.
No X Factor.
I'm not revisiting this world. There was no X Factor for me. I'm slightly intrigued maybe by a sequel, but we all know usually sequels are worse than the first film. And so if I was already cold on it, I think that I don't know. I don't know that I want to revisit it. So
if there's another lockdown and a quarantine, and I was at home again, and I was tired of watching everything, I'd probably watch the sequel.
Well, I hate to say it, but Netflix is kind of developing a reputation, at least for me, that they're kind of producing these films that are, they look shiny, but ain't a lot there. When you shake the box, it feels kind of empty.
What's kind of funny? We talked about the beginning being really cool and the end being really cool, and that was the saving grace. That kind of sucks for a movie if the beginning and the end are the best parts of the movie. The filler just sucked.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still gonna watch the sequel, just because I already invested myself in watching this one. I might as well keep the shit show going.
Do you know what was a better movie than this? And I just watched it on an offshoot. Palm Springs on Hulu. That movie was fucking funny and good.
Okay, totally different genre, totally different thing, but
Thanks for plugging a different movie in our review, Rich. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm going to. This movie didn't have much going for it, and I watched both these movies the same day, and I liked that one way better.
Okay.
Okay. All
There's
right.
your hot take. All right. Well, much like Al's light, let's.
Yeah, my light just turned off right now, guys. Sorry.
I think we should call it a wrap before we're all completely in the dark. But hey, to the old guard, we tried. All right?
We tried. I wasn't drinking. I was eating donuts. So
Not sure what you're guarding, but keep it up.
Yeah, we're not sure exactly. Other than those sassy bangs.
I like them. I like that sassy haircut, guys. I like it.
You like what you like.
I like what I like.
All right, from the Nightcap, peace.